Hope, progress and prosperity depends on peace, but peace depends on us.
The W.H.O, that's the World Health Organization, receives vast amounts of money from the United States, and we pay for a majority, a biggest portion of their money. And they actually criticized and disagreed with my travel ban at the time I did it, and they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things. And they had a lot of information early, and they didn't want to, they seemed to be very China-centric. And we have to look into that, so we're going to look into it. We give a majority of the money that they get, and it's much more than the $58 million is a small portion of what they've gotten over the years. Sometimes they get much more than that. Sometimes it's for programs that they're doing, and it's much bigger numbers. And if the programs are good, that's great as far as we're concerned. But we want to look into it. World Health Organization, because they really are, they called it wrong. They called it wrong. They missed the call. They could have called it months earlier. They would have known. And they should have known. And they probably did know. So we'll be looking into that very carefully. And we're going to put a hold on money spent to the W.H.O. We're going to put a very powerful hold on it. And we're going to see. It's a great thing if it works. But when they call every shot wrong, that's no good.
So is it time to freeze funding to the WHO during a pandemic?
No, maybe not. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but we're going to look at it.
You did say that.
We give a tremendous, no, I didn't. I said we're going to look at it. We're going to investigate it. We're going to look at it. But we will look at ending funding. Yeah. Because you know what? They called it wrong. And if you look back over the years even, they're very much, everything seems to be very biased toward China. That's not right.
To my fellow African diaspora, a very good day to all of you. My name is Ambassador Arikana W.H.O. Over the past couple of days, I've received many messages, emails, phone calls, and video clippings of the abuse that is being meted to our fellow African diaspora living in China. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets of China with their possessions after being evicted out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets with their suitcases and at times with nothing at all, roaming the streets after being thrown out of their hotel rooms simply because they're Africans. I have watched in horror women carrying babies roaming the streets of China with nowhere to go after being thrown out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've heard many stories of Africans who are married to Chinese being separated from their husbands or wives simply because they were Africans. I've heard stories about Africans being forced to take COVID-19 tests simply because they're Africans. In many cases, these individuals did not meet criteria for testing, or rather had been quarantined for the specified time period as mandated by the anti-pandemic laws of China. Not once have I heard any complaints of any African disobeying the anti-pandemic laws of China. Why is it then that Africans are being singled out and mistreated? This situation is not acceptable. It is wrong, and it will not be tolerated. To President Xi, I say, while you have enjoyed good relationships with all the African leaders, it is precisely because of that that you should do the right thing. You are sitting in the big boy's chair, and we are asking you to make the big boy decisions. We're counting on you to make sure that the Africans that are roaming the streets and have been evicted from their homes be allowed to go back home. We're also asking you to make sure the Africans who are roaming the streets because they have been thrown out of their hotel rooms be allowed to go back to their hotel rooms. As we speak, President Xi, may I remind you that we have over 10 million Chinese residing in Africa, where we have welcomed them with open arms. We have allowed the Chinese to establish themselves to marry Africans and live happily ever after in our Africa. Why can't Africans be awarded the same welcome that we have given to millions of your citizens? What is being done to Africans in China is deplorable, and the world cannot stand by and allow it to continue. While we understand that the majority of the Chinese are good people, they're good citizens in China as well as in Africa. However, sadly, among them, there are a few bad apples. A few bad apples that have chosen to give China a bad name. A few bad apples that are making China look bad in the eyes of the Africans. This is a situation that cannot be allowed to continue. President Xi, you are a good man. And we would like the relationship between China and the African governments to continue unabated. But the behavior that's coming from a few of your citizens will not be tolerated. And we're counting on you to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The Africans are no longer going to tolerate this abuse. From the Chinese or anybody else for that matter. The African youth are enraged. We're asking, when is enough going to be enough? President Xi, the power is in your hands. We value, as Africans, our relationship with China. Please do not allow a few bad apples within your citizens to ruin what is otherwise a wonderful relationship between China and the African countries. As a united citizens, as a united African citizens in the diaspora, we are asking you, President Xi, to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The children of Africa are saying, enough is enough. The abuse of Africans at home and abroad, be it in China or on the continent, has got to stop. You may not be aware of some of these abuses, but as a united African citizenry in the diaspora, we hope you will receive our message in the spirit with which it is being delivered to you. You are a good man, President Xi. We trust you will do the right thing. I thank you.
Yeah, so really, we just want to assure all Kenyans that we are working very hard as a ministry, as a government, as a health sector, as a country, a whole government approach to addressing the challenge that is currently facing us of coronavirus. And the team that we have been meeting with this evening has been a team of experts, some health workers, experts in communication, experts in social media, all looking at how we work together to make sure that, number one, Kenyans are aware, they are well sensitized about what we are dealing with, that we all also learn what precautionary measures we need to take to ensure that we can prevent ourselves from getting coronavirus, and also to ensure that we protect our families. The team of experts here has been doing a lot of work in terms of their own practice, the clinical practice, the protocols around coronavirus. This is a new virus that the medics have never dealt with, that the entire health workers have not dealt with. Feel that you're very ill to go into a matatu, to go to hospital, we really recommend that you call the 719 line and get us to come and pick you through an ambulance which has got specialized facilities and with health workers to take you to an isolation facility where you can be tested. So basically, we are just aligning our coordination and making sure that we have a seamless operation even as we deal with coronavirus. And I just want to thank the entire team, the entire fraternity in communication world, social media world, our experts in health, for their for their commitment and self-sacrifice. We've been sitting here up to very late hours in the night, days on end, and people are here really just volunteering themselves to serve this nation. So my deep appreciation, and to all of us, please keep us hooked up to our conversations, be kept in the loop through Hashtag Commercia Corona. Thank you very much.
Of the media, it is a pleasure to be with you in this virtual stakeout. I know one of the UN correspondents has been hit by the epidemic. My thoughts are with all of you in this difficult moment we are all facing. We are facing a global health crisis, unlike any in 75-year history of the United Nations, one that is spreading human suffering, infecting the global economy, and upending people's lives. A global recession, perhaps of record dimensions, is a near certainty. The International Labour Organization has just reported that workers around the world could lose as much as $3.4 trillion in income by the end of this year. This is above all a human crisis that calls for solidarity. Our human family is stressed and the social fabric is being torn. People are
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television Broadcasting from the Political Command Center this side, miles away from Nairobi. In Nairobi studios, we have none other than Miriam Ogutu. Good afternoon, Miriam.
A very good afternoon to you, Doctor, there from the Political Command Center.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much. All of you viewers all over the whole world, wherever you are watching us, this is Punchline Diplomatic Leaks. We want to go on the subject straight away. Those who have been, I have been promising people that I will bring detail by detail. Look at this, inch by inch, soil by soil, the problems, the videos of what happened in the World Health Organization. What went wrong? What really went wrong from November 2019? That's why coronavirus is called COVID-19. What happened in Wuhan? What happened in the offices of the chairperson or the director general of the World Health Organization, my friend Tego? We call him Tego. His gorilla name of Tigray fighters is called Tego. Commander Tego. What happened to Commander Tego? Tegros. Remember, I know this man, we are friends, but for me, I am going to differ on principle. Miriam, my position, I am not on, I don't like a Trump, so don't get me wrong. I don't like a Trump because of the utterances he has done and the way he has closed himself to the rest of the world, closed us out. That is point number one. Point number two, even if I
We seem to be experiencing some technical hitch there, but our production team is working on that so that Dr. Matanga can be back and work on bringing us that, as to, set the premise of our conversation today. There he was doing the introduction of our topic for today, where did the World Health Organization go wrong? And this is from the premise. Remember, there's a letter by the U.S. Senate that was signed by ranking members in the U.S. Senate there.
2 years ago,
He's back. All right.
2 years ago, Miriam, I was telling people that not 2 years ago, 2 months ago, from November, I have been following the press statements of the World Health Organization. Word by word, inch by inch. Are you hearing me, Miriam?
Yes, we had a bit of a technical hitch, but right now I can totally understand what you're saying. Yes.
But you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I have been following everything that the World Health Organization has been saying, doing conferences when Mr. Commander Tigro of Tigray Liberation Army, which liberated Ethiopia from Mengistu Haile Mariam, what he was saying. And let me start by shocking the world. On 1st of January 2020 or 2020, Mr. Tigro, Dr. Tegros, Miriam, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Tedros, yes.
Mr. Tegros came on the international world media and said the following: no evidence of significant human-to-human transmission does not recommend, the World Health Organization does not recommend any specific measures for any travelers on the plane. Not get a pen and get this thing down. Don't say Matanga did not tell you war. From wherever you are in Nigeria, from wherever you are in South Africa, from wherever you are in Angola, in West Africa, in Accra, in Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, take a pen and write. You might be an African. You might say they want to hunt this African from the job for nothing. But listen to that. That's point number one. On 12th of January 2020, the World Health Organization Director General, Dr. Tegros, said no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission. Okay? We Africans were watching. All the ministers in Africa were watching with their mouths open. While the reports, when you tune China radio, China TV, CNN is telling you things in Wuhan are getting out of hand. I am laying my case because I'm one of the few lawyers going to the few of us. We are 29 people worldwide who are going to court with this guy. 29. Some of them are professors, double. I am only one single double, one single doctorate. On 14th of January, the World Health Organization Director General came back to the world and told us they may have been limited human transmission. Hallelujah. Miriam, I don't know whether you are following the story as it changes. Mm-hmm. This is the Director General of World Health Organization, the last organization between God and the earth. Because if he tells you are going to die today, you die. The other person who can tell you the disease is not manageable is God. And the second one is World Health Organization. If they say they can't control it, it is them. On the 17th of January, 2020, the same man came to the video. I have videos which I cannot play here now because I will play them in the court. He says, this disease does not recommend any specific health measures for travelers. What? Have you seen? While planes started, continued how many? Ethiopian Airlines continued supplying as if they were supplying this disease in every African country. On 21st of January, the World Health, because pressure now is building up, people in Africa are getting anxious. Third world countries, South America, Colombia, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Nicaragua, those countries were getting anxious. Haiti, Indonesia, South Korea. People were getting anxious, asking the World Health Organization, what do we do now? On 21st of January, the man comes back with something that it becomes a blow. I said, there is a possibility of sustained human transmission of the new virus in China. Aha! I hope people at home are watching and taking these notes. And the date, on 22nd January, the following morning, Dr. Tedros came back on the national and the international television, and he said, I was very impressed by the detail and the depth of China's presentation about COVID-19. That was the time when he went to China. On 23rd January, he again issued another statement. There is now more evidence that 2019 COVID spreads from human to human transmission. This is 23rd January. And I remember from November, the man, this disease sparked off in Wuhan. We are now in January. Now, 27th January 2020, this year, the man says, does not recommend any evaluation at the points of entry regarding this event, nor any restrictions on travel or commerce. Africans, you tell me, don't accuse me that I'm not supporting an African. I don't like Trump, but I'm supporting the removal of this man from this post. On 28th of January, the year of our Lord 2020, the World Health Organization issued a statement saying they were confident in China's epidemic prevention and control ability. Remember, he has not warned us that COVID-19 needs hand washing, needs distancing, needs stay at home, needs lockdown. He never warned Italy, he never warned Britain, He never warned Spain. He never warned any European or African country. On the 30th of January, the World Health Organization declared a global health emergency over the new virus. It took 1 month for the World Health Organization that we pay, just as it took 1 month for Kofi Annan in Rwanda to fail to take a decision while the Hutus were being killed. On 3rd of February, the year of our Lord, the World Health Organization, realizing that the pressure was becoming too much, telephones were coming from every angle. I have clips and the videos of all this. I'm not reading from, I have this, and you can see we've intercepted. We've intercepted. We have intercepted. And I want to tell those who think we don't work, everything is intercepted. We've got it now. We've got it. We are 29 international lawyers. We want to battle it out with anybody if this man does not qualify for crimes against humanity. Okay? On 3rd of February, let me read that one. On 30th of January, what he did. He said, absolutely no doubt about China's commitment to transparency and to protecting the world people. When 1 year, 1 month or 2 months behind China, people had been dying. Wuhan was locked down. Students were shouting, bring us home. Africans were saying, let's go home. Planes continued to travel. Yet he had told us there is no transmission between traveler to traveler. People continued coughing in those big trains of planes, trains, everywhere, going to New York, to London, to Italy, to Africa, to Nairobi, to every place. And I want Africans to bear with me. I have never been as brutal as I am now. I was once brutal on Ocampo, and I won. I stood high in Africa for having won and delivered Ocampo to the dustbin of prison. I stood once against Ponte Clark. Ponte Clark was the chief prosecutor of the Yugoslavian tribunal. I am the one who brought her down. I took her photographs while she was in Yugoslavia, talking to witnesses of a Serbian man who was in prison. I brought Ponte Clark, that French prosecutor. This is me. And the world, trust me, I'm going to bring this man to jail. On 3rd of February, the man now directed us to close our borders. He said closing borders could even escalate the spread. Do you know what he said? That if you close the borders and lock everything, no air transport and so on, could escalate the spread of the virus if travelers enter the countries unofficially. Look here, who was more unofficial, bringing planes, allowing planes to fly to Johannesburg, to New York, to London, to kill people with the spread of the virus? Who was responsible? The World Health Organization. Between February and March, the guy kept on praising China. China has been working with multiple times, 7 of them, I have the clips. that the disease has been contained. On 18th of February, the year of our Lord, I wrote an article after now concluding that we have reached an end. This man was going to kill us. I wrote an article to my fellow Africans and to the world. And I said, in this article, I was very candid. On 18th of February, I penned an article by name. This is a grave matter. In my article, the beginning, I said, I have penned this article for us to think about what can be done. Many countries in Africa have not prepared themselves on this subject of COVID-19. Away from politics, there is a matter of grave concern which require the attention of leaders worldwide, but most specifically, my African leaders. Coronavirus is pandemic that is proving to be the biggest threat.
All right, we seem to be having a bit of a technical hitch there, but as I said there earlier, Dr. David Matanga, who is at the command center, political command center there, is just giving us a premise with the timestamp there and how the events have turned out and why, where did the World Health Organization go wrong, and just trying to have us understand really the time and the timeline of events and how things really turned up there, giving us the dates. And after this, the pandemic broke up from China. So
I don't know why. I keep losing you.
Yes, we had
on 18th of February.
All right, he's back.
I warned African leaders and my people in the world, including I copied to the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office, that there is a danger. The man of World Health Organization is not telling us the truth. And on 12th of March, finally, the World Health Organization, the same Director General, Dr. Tego, Commander Tego of Tigray Armed Forces, that overthrew Mengistu Haile Mariam, the man I know from London, Hyper and Islington. Because when I talk, some people think I talk. I know this guy. There's a time we sent him to go and put a budget to the British Refugee Council. He inflated the budget. We lost funding. Now here we are. I don't know why people don't ask some of us. Some of us will tell you what it is. On March 12th, the World Health Organization declares, we are deeply concerned that some countries are not approaching this threat with the level of political commitment needed to control. The pandemic had already grown legs, limbs, eyes, nose, mouth. It was everywhere. We were left in kangaroo style to run for our lives or face the death penalty. Today, Africa and the world faces death penalties from COVID-19. The reasons are here. The reasons are here. I'm an African and I have plenty of material that I have now received. Tapes, videos indicating how one man brought us to the disaster. we have today. Viewers, I rest my case. And I will rest my case. I am among the 29 people worldwide chosen by the group of international activists, lawyers, international law experts, international law itself, international relations, international intelligence systems. I will present my case without my lawyer to any tribunal in the future to seek one, resignation of Mr. Tedros from the post of World Health Organization Director. Two, to seek remedy from him as an individual or from World Health Organization as an organization to apologize to the people of the world why he issued contradicting statements, thereby abusing his office and committing very serious crimes that border crimes against humanity. I rest my case. Miriam, back to you.
Yes.
By then, when I'm releasing this case, I'll be wearing a suit.
All right. Thank you so
much.
much.
So that Mr. Tedros does not think I am just like that. He knows me from London. I know Zenawi Meles. You went so early, but you would be my witness today. We knew this man from London that one day could cause the world a problem. You see now, and the people are telling me, we Africans, we should support an African. How do you support an African who told us that Africa will have dead bodies instead of helping us? Instead of helping us, I present my court to the International Public Court. May God help us. Thank you. Miriam, right. I hand it over to you now.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, there for that really explanation and helping us understand the timelines and how the turn of events and what really happened during that time. So right now, I'd just like for us, in line with what you just laid bare there and helping us understand what has really been happening and the measures or the lack thereof the World Health Organization took or did not take. Well, the U.S. Senate right now in a meeting wrote a letter to the World Health Organization raising similar concerns, Doctor, there that you brought into fore. And this letter was written on the 9th of April 2020, and it was written to Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, who is the Director General of World Health Organization. And the letter there starts by saying this letter is furtherance of the Committee on Oversight and Reforms Committee ongoing investigation into the Chinese government's role in exacerbating the COVID-19 pandemic, including its large-scale propaganda campaign. So they just pointed out a few, and Doctor, I'll just read a few, and then perhaps you can give me your thoughts on what you make of it. So after the introduction thereof, I will not get into it, but they're saying that the organization is at the center of the global response to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and despite the World Health Organization's purported mission to operate as a political international institution within the United Nations, recent media reports suggest that the World Health Organization helped Beijing disseminate propaganda, downplayed the extent of the disease, and possibly delayed ordering a public health emergency. That is one point that the U.S. Senate is bringing up. And also, given the actions and the statements of World Health Organization officials during the past few months, we are concerned that the World Health Organization is no longer serving the needs of the world and is instead taking cues from China. And throughout the crisis, the World Health Organization has shied away from placing any blame on the Chinese government, which is in essence the Communist Party of China. And they're saying, you as a leader, this was directed to Tedros of the World Health Organization, even went so far as to praise the Chinese government's transparency during the crisis, when in fact the regime has consistently lied to the world by underreporting their actual infection and death statistics. During the crisis, the World Health Organization has repeatedly relied on false information from the Chinese government, and now they put their points, and point number one, denied human-to-human spread of the COVID-19 based solely on Chinese propaganda. And Doctor, you brought up at that point earlier there when you're giving us the premise of these timelines, and you said this is what the Senate now says. On January 14th, 2020, the World Health Organization tweeted that preliminary investigations conducted by Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus. These preliminary investigations included China jailing any doctor that disseminated any information about COVID-19. Doctor, before I even go further, we can see from what you're reading here and from the information you gave us there earlier, World Health Organization worked in cahoots with the Chinese government to ensure this information does not come out to the world.
Look here. Let's close our television and go home. And you know what? This is a very serious matter. We are not going to close the television. I am just telling you, I told you 4 weeks ago, wasn't I telling you that there is a problem here? There are two things that you should always know, and let my viewers know. When you see America packing their goods to go, if you have a small briefcase, small or bag, or a paper bag, carrier bag, or if you're a student in that country, ask your father to give you an air ticket, also live on that same flight. Any student who has studied international intelligence systems and how international agencies work, I always teach students who should be bright, not those with lazy minds and porridge. I don't like students who have porridge in their heads. I teach people who have minds, who think. And I have ever lectured on this subject of international bodies. There is no subject. If your son brings you a degree in your house and say, Daddy, I studied international relations, tear it. Tear it to pieces. I studied it and I criticize it. Do you know why? It is a subject full of conspiracy. Permanent friends and permanent economic interests. If you have economic interest, if China has economic interest, if China has got $1 and they give you $1, can you go and reveal this information? The world has become a crazy world. Why is America so harsh on this? Why? Why is America so harsh? America is harsh because Mr. Tedros, Mr. Bill Gates, George Soros, who campaigned for Mr. Tedros to become the World Health Organization Director General. People are telling me, wow, keep quiet. Do you know who did the campaign? Who canvassed Africa? Who? Bill Gates Foundation. Bill Gates Foundation. Worldwide. Some countries were told, choose that man. If you don't choose, our foundation will not give you money. Let the world hear. Who is trying to force us to take what we don't want to take? Bill Gates and the wife, Melinda. They are telling us there will be dead bodies. The man of World Health Organization, Mama, is also saying there will be dead bodies. Mama, give us a signal. Mama, give us a signal. This man is an African, but he wronged us Africans. He told us nothing. President Museveni would have bought ventilators, would have told people in Uganda to manufacture ventilators. Uhuru Kenyatta would have told people here, University of Kenyatta, to prepare ventilators. The whole of Africa, Mnangagwa, Ramaphosa, Kagame, planes would have been stopped if we had proper advice that this disease is transmitted by travelers.
Human to human, yes.
If I'm wrong, skin me alive. I'm ready. I'm ready. But I'm not going to just say, Africa, Africa, oye, Africa, oye, Africa, oye.
All right.
Africa, oye, Africa, oye. No. I am like a Nyerere. When the people say they don't invade Uganda to remove Idi Amin, Nyerere sent troops to Uganda to remove Idi Amin. When the people say they don't recognize the Biafra, Nyerere recognized the Biafra. We saved millions of Biafrans from death. Obote and Nyerere and Kenyatta. I speak like them. I have no regrets. When you come to say bye-bye to me, farewell thee, give me one word. Man of courage. Mr. Tedros is like Ocampo. Time is going to tell. Give it a time. Let us settle COVID-19. Let's finish. You will see the tales of all what Africans. Why are we suffering in Africa? Had this man known that this disease was going to come, he's a medical doctor. He's not a PhD doctor who studied the politics of talking like Matanga and others. He specialized in body language, in healing. He's a doctor with a clinic, not a doctor without a clinic like Matanga. He should have warned the Africans, knowing that we have poor infrastructure, knowing that we have no hospitals that are equipped like Britain. Above all, look at America. With over 24,000 people approaching dead. We don't know how many and how America, which goes to the moon, has failed to get this vaccine. Even to stop the current onslaught of all of us. Surely you people, you think this thing is simple? Then a man sits in Geneva and the time goes to the TV smiling with his teeth. Should take up responsibility and resign. Quit now and save your skin, and then people will acknowledge, write you in history before you are forced out. 149 out of 193 United Nations countries are on the man's neck. So you tell me how your Mr. Tedros with Africa, which has got only 54 countries, and out of 54, I think about 20 to 23 countries will not vote with Africa. Will not stand with Tedros. I'm telling you, will not. So those who think they can help him, Ramaphosa, hallelujah, endelea. The Dr. Matanga, no way, I am not there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I am an activist, and I tell the truth. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of anger about this man Tedros. In Europe, in Britain, in America, in Italy, in Spain, in South Africa itself. You mention the name of Tedros, people want to eat you. In Egypt, in Tunisia, in Algeria, in Morocco. You have seen the number of people in Morocco infected because the man told them travel and there is no problem. Ships continue to come from Italy to come to the shore of North Africa. In Iran, we are talking of countries that are suffering. Iran figure has hit about 100,000. Nobody is talking about the grand mullahs of the Persian Gulf. There is trouble, Jermaine. And let's not take this lightly. That nobody takes a responsibility to resign. He erred, he told us lies, he told us conflicting. If you can charge Waititu with abuse of office in Nairobi, and you cannot charge this man with abuse of office, then where is law? I rest my case.
All right. So in that letter that the Senate, the U.S. Senate wrote to the World Health Organization. I will not get too much into the details, but just a few points here. They raised, they said that number 2, prolonged naming COVID-19 a public health emergency of the international concern and pandemic because China had the spread under control. So that is what the World Health Organization came out. So they're accusing, the U.S. Senate is accusing World Health Organization of some of these things, and they're saying by the time the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a public health emergency of international concern on January 30th, 2020, the disease had infected almost 10,000 people and killed almost 1,000 people in different 19 countries. It is reported that the delay of a public health emergency of international concern declaration was a result of intense pressure from China. While making the declaration, they're saying World Health Organization said that China is to be congratulated for the extraordinary measure. So instead of World Health Organization coming out clearly and saying this is what is happening, they went ahead and instead congratulated China for the steps and the measures that the country had taken. And then the other point is they delayed serious measures like travel restrictions to counter the global spread. And this is something that we've been talking about here so much. And they continue to say that despite declaring COVID-19 public health emergency of international concern and extensive evidence of transmission through travel, the World Health Organization insisted other countries not to restrict travel or trade to China. So even at this point, earlier in January, late January there, the World Health Organization, even after making that declaration, they still continued to encourage more trade between countries and to stop, not to give any restrictions. So the World Health Organization failed in that regard, and President Trump came under intense criticism when he barred travel from China. Remember when Trump said nobody will be allowed, or no plane from the U.S. will be allowed to go to China. In fact, one of a certain politician from China, they came out and said this was xenophobic. And so another point is they say continued praise of the Chinese efforts to combat the crisis despite the cover-up, and they continue there just elaborating on that point. And also, so now they've given all the evidence and all the documents, and so they're waiting for the World Health Organization to respond to this. And this letter was specifically written to Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, who is the Director General of World Health Organization. So a lot of concerns that are being raised by the U.S. Senate there, Doctor, that are really in line with a lot of things that we've been talking about here, and a lot of concerns we've been raising here in regards to the World Health Organization's position and responsibility that comes with that institution to ensure that some of this very important information come out to the world, and this is able to alert the world. But that is not what we saw Mr. Tedros there doing. Instead, they prolonged a lot of this, and what looks like they were working in cahoot with the Chinese government. A lot of cover-ups seems to have taken place there, according to the U.S. Senate, and now we are where we are today, recording all this amount of deaths. The statistics are staggering, and people continue to die. And the COVID-19, before the world really was awakened to the gravity of the matter, it was already a bit too late. And if World Health Organization would have acted swiftly, perhaps these deaths that we are seeing all over the world would have been averted.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I miss everything, but that is what life is. I've stated my case. I need consolation. I just want to go and see how go on video to see my patient, my daughter, if she has. I'm pained because my daughter is a victim. It's one of the victims. So anybody stopping me, anybody stopping me on this journey will be doing an injustice to the world. I have all grounds to bring to the attention of the world that Dr. Commander, communist commander of Tigray Liberation Movement, Commander Tegro, carried his traits of Communist Party in his brains and ended us where. Remember, there are so many things coming, which I'm remembering this guy from Highbury and Islington in London, when we used to have a drink in the pub down near the train station before going home. Ash, kumbe these people behave like this when they are grown-ups. So, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, to thank all of you, especially you. I don't know where you are looking. Is the internet working?
Yes, I'm hearing what you're saying.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can get you very clearly. Hello. All right, we seems to have lost him there. So thank you so much, our viewers, for being with us. And so hopefully you can meet later on in our evening show. But for right now, thank you so much, even for engaging with us at the diplomatic cliques, where we've been looking at the problem and what.
Miriam, your internet was not working.
I think we have Doctor back there.
But it has allowed us to finish.
Yes.
I don't know what Stephenie's picture keeps on coming.
All right. I think
I've already concluded.
We are concluding now.
I have concluded.
All right. So we'll see our viewers later.
Okay, you can conclude, Miriam, from officially from the other side, because the satellite.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.